This is the Great Alaska Hunting Podcast. I'm Dalton Gray.
And I'm Ryan Humphreys.
Broadcasting from our hometown of Fairbanks, Alaska. This show is brought to you by Stealthy Hunter. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Great Alaska Hunting Podcast, everybody. I'm Dalton.
I guess we're started.
I guess we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yep, we just got off the phone with our first caller.
Yeah.
Actually, we just had a friend give me a phone call right as we were sitting down to start recording, and started recording and listened to him sing songs about fishing.
When you said, well, welcome back, folks, or whatever it was you just said, I was about to say something weird, like with a Canadian accent, like about time we get started, hey?
That would have been a terrible idea.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a good thing I didn't say that.
Yeah, good thing you didn't.
Yeah.
What you been up to on this fine spring day?
Oh, I've been obsessing over sheep hunting.
Have you?
Uh-huh.
Still?
Yeah. You broke me.
Just hooked.
Took me sheep hunting, and now I can't go home and sit
down.
And
I broke you sheep hunting.
Sheep hunt, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you broke me by taking me sheep hunting.
Not like spiritually I broke you or anything, or mentally, psychologically.
Well, psychologically. Now all I can think about is sheep hunting.
Yeah, certainly not physically.
Oh, no. Absolutely not physically. Oh, no. Built me, made me stronger. Isn't that a song?
About what?
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. Let us know, folks.
Please don't.
Please call.
If it's some terrible pop song.
Call in if you know the song we're talking about. Well, this is a different start to a show.
Yeah. Our caller wanted me to show you this.
Oh yeah.
He made a halibut meme. Doormats only, keepers only company.
He made it, or
yeah, he had it made onto a hoodie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I haven't caught one of those doormat halibut yet, though. All I've caught is...
Define a doormat halibut.
The Mac Daddy.
Okay. Because I think doormat,
like table size.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, doormats usually aren't that big.
You haven't seen my door.
I have.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, anyway. He's excited to go fishing. Everybody's excited to be getting outside.
Me too, yeah.
That dude, yeah. Liam's ready to go fishing. I'm ready to go brown bear hunting. You're ready to go sheep hunting.
Well, it's been more of I log on to the Onyx or whatever to look at bear baiting. And
you log on? You have to re-enter all your stuff every time?
Well, you get on. I use a computer.
Oh, you use your laptop. That's right.
I use or desktop, whichever I'm using at the time.
Oh, do you use your big 3-screen desktop
one screen
setup?
is the desktop. The other 2 screens are the laptop right now. I have it plugged in, so yeah. And then I have them networked together so I can transfer files and stuff.
Can you run one image across 3 screens?
If I had it all on one computer, yeah. Not worth it.
So that's how you're e-scouting for sheep?
Actually, I mostly map on one screen, internet or, whatever on the other screen that I'm using. But and then I use the other screen when I'm editing and stuff.
Found a big one yet?
Big sheep?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you can see you can judge their horns pretty well from top down on the satellite view.
Counting rings, are you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We just need those Starlink satellites to go lower and lower and lower, and we can actually start counting rings on rams.
Starlinks don't have cameras. Or if they do, that's not what they're for.
I saw some satellite imagery at one point that you could see sheep.
Are you sure it was satellite or was it UAV?
I don't know.
UAV.
To me, it looked like satellite, but it was like ultra high def.
Yeah, it just costs a lot of money to get access to good.
I don't have access to it,
stuff.
But
you know somebody.
Yeah.
Who does?
Yeah, I haven't even asked.
I've looked into programs and stuff that offer that kind of thing, and they're not cheap or easy to get access to. So
yeah, I haven't asked for that person to look at anything in a long time.
You can do like orders where you can say I want this set of coordinates.
Oh, really?
Pictures for this, but it still costs a ton of money because they usually have to.
Like define ton of money for a map section.
I don't remember.
Is it like hundreds of dollars?
I think it was thousands.
Thousands of dollars?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, depending on what you're doing, you're talking about retasking, not necessarily retasking, but adding a tasking to a satellite on its next pass.
Oh, that's what it does.
That's what one of the things I was looking at was.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Like, I want updated picture coordinates for this spot, or updated pictures from these coordinates.
Huh.
Yeah.
Count how many terrorists are in this comp.
Well, yeah, I don't know what the legality is on.
Light them up.
Nice. See what you did there.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that would be handy to just have that as an app on your phone.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
For sheep hunting.
Yeah, but then everybody would have it.
Yeah. That's the thing is all this technology, and there's really only so much secrecy you can have as far as mapping goes nowadays.
Yeah.
Used to be if you didn't want somebody to know where you were going, you just didn't show them your map.
Mm-hmm.
But now they look at a few pictures on the internet that you foolishly posted, and they can start lining up things and then look at a 3D map, start lining things up on a 3D. And
you went bear baiting and then post pictures of your sheep that you shot while bear baiting.
Yeah, I suppose that'd do the trick.
Yeah, and then tell them you shot it, Well, I'm not going to tell you where I bear bait, so.
Up the woods.
Yeah, or down the woods.
Yeah. You getting ready for bear baiting, are you?
Oh, yeah. See, that's what I was doing. I was logging on to look at the maps for bear baiting, and then I got distracted by my sheep pins.
Mm.
And all my yellow pins all over the place, which I use for, I've never been there. I'm curious about this spot.
Yeah, prospective areas.
Yeah, I zoom in somewhere and oh, there's a trail. Pin. Okay, now I see this much trail, and it's 50 miles from anything. What is that for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Found one of those the other day.
Out there?
Yeah. North
of that creek?
Northwest.
Oh.
Up high above.
Of that ridge?
Of that area, and yeah.
Coming in from the west.
Go creek, ridge, trail was way up here coming in from the, So that could be.
Ah.
Yeah.
The old spot.
Yeah, which would be a long ride.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why.
That would measure up.
I could see why, because it would get
I've got a pin on that trail, too. I could pull up my maps, and we could compare later. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, this is boring for people on a podcast.
Yeah, they're sitting there going, ridge, creek, trail.
Yeah. Yeah. Search it up.
I'm not challenging people to find it now.
But.
I said it now, right? Yeah.
Play the lottery.
Right.
When do you, I speaking of which, I brought your beavers today.
Nice.
Got those for you.
Good. Thank you.
They should stink.
Yep.
They're partly frozen.
Yep.
I'm going to throw both mine in the freezer.
That's a good way to keep them until you get them out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when I get home, probably the week before I get home, I'll have the missus stick them in blue Lowe's buckets with lids and set them out in the sunshine.
Yeah.
Put a little bit of water in the bottom of the bucket.
Yeah. What I did with mine last year was I left it in the garbage bag.
Mm-hmm.
Let it stink up real good.
Mm-hmm.
Slid it into a Lowe's bucket that I put holes in the bottom of. And then when we got out there, I just tore that garbage bag open.
Yeah.
So all that goodness.
The marinade.
The stinky beaver juice. Slowly just wafted through the trees and it dripped down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There is no smell like rotten beaver at a bear bait.
No, there's not.
It just does something else. It's an awesome, awesome lure. If you can get your hands on some.
Yeah.
It can be tough, though.
A little bit of stinky beaver, a little bit of anise.
Yeah. Usually those trappers that get a lot of beavers every spring, usually they've got a list of people.
Right,
that they're selling beavers to. And if you don't have yourself a good spot on their list, then you might not get any. Or you get gouged for one. Hey, I'm selling them for $40 a pop on Facebook.
Well, because there's people that eat them, too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, most of the time, those ones that get trapped, most of the time they're in the spring. They don't always freeze them.
Depends on where and how. And
I bought some a few years ago that I bought them and they were already half rotten. The guy had just been leaving them outside in a pile.
Was that last year?
Under a tarp. No, that was It was
Okay.
2 or 3 years ago now, if not longer. It was a while ago. And I think I actually did find that guy on Facebook.
Yeah.
I just sent him a message and asked about how many he had left, and I bought a few of them. But when I showed up at his property, he just had them in a pile,
Ready to go.
and they were underneath the blue tarp, and they were covered in flies by that point. It was already into May. Yeah, they stink.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna freeze both of mine until they're needed because that bait's not going in for a little while yet. There's no need to put it out that early. Have you seen all the Facebook posts?
No, I haven't been on Facebook.
Anybody have their bears on their baits yet?
I've seen a few guys already taking bears down south.
Yeah, but not over baits though.
I saw one guy did.
Did he?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago even.
Maybe way far south.
Yeah, way far south. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if the Kenai Peninsula, possibly down there.
I mean, look at how much snow wasn't in Wasilla.
Well, sure. Yeah, well, our buddy saw a big black bear on Jay Bear last week, I think he said. Said it looked like a nice big fat bear.
Good.
Which there's probably not much fat on it this time of year, but it looked big, so.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see what that bear I shot this last spring looked like in the fall.
Yeah. You never gave him the chance.
No. If I see another one that big, I'm not going to give him the chance either.
That was the monster.
Mm-hmm.
Did he look real skinny before you shot him?
No. No, he was meaty. Very meaty.
Meaty boar.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like, I mean, it just, you know how, you start to skin an animal and the muscles start to look defined. This one was like...
Bodybuilder?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like big old just...
Did you cut his stomach open when you were cutting him open?
I don't think I did.
I've always been kind of curious. I mean, obviously you're going to find a bunch of dog food in there possibly. Right. But I've always wondered, like, early on, if you shot one, what you'd find in there. I mean, probably some grass and roots and stuff, but
yeah,
like around moose calving time, if you shot a grizzly, I've always wondered if you cut the stomach open, would you find any moose meat in there or a bunch of hair? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've had bear scat around baits before that's got moose hair all matted into the poop, which made me a little bit surprised that they were at a bait, but maybe they were done with it and they just moved on.
Killed it, ate it, were hungry.
Yeah, ate part of it and then said, "I want some grease to wash this down with."
Some of that good seed oils.
Yeah. Oh, can we not use seed oils to bait bears with now?
Oh, my wife gave me a hard time one year when she found out what I was using to bait bears. She, you mean you're feeding them seed oils and then we're eating them?
Don't turn into one of those people.
No, I mean, preferably I'd have, sure, beef tallow. They like beef tallow better anyway. I had one place I was getting it from.
I wouldn't know.
I was getting tallow from one place, dude.
Were you? Oh, yeah. Oh, was that the stuff that was in the jug?
Oh, yeah. It was in a bucket, 5-gallon bucket. In square buckets. It was awesome.
Maybe I don't remember that.
It came with, like, chunks of food in it. I mean, like, the hash browns and burnt bacon tips were in it. Oh, dude, they devoured that stuff.
Was that from that restaurant out in your town?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't found any this year, so I don't know if somebody's on top of it before I am or what. But
well, I was in this restaurant for a non-eating reason, and underneath the kitchen area, they had a grease disposal tank where they just get it pumped out of to clean it.
It's grease trap.
It was massive. It was the size of like a water tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked somebody, I said, "How often does this sucker fill up?" Every so often they named a time, and they said, "So what does a guy have to do to be here when the pump truck is here?" And the fellow says, "Well, we usually have a septic pumping service come and do it." I said, "Well, yeah, I don't really want them to fill up buckets of grease for me with those hoses. But who knows? The bears might go nuts over it."
I wonder what it'd take to get that pump truck out there. Just dump it all right here. Yeah.
Right on the side of the road.
I swear, officer, there are just bears everywhere.
Yeah. Your Honor, you weren't there.
This podcast took a turn for the nasty.
Well, we told you, We talked about this. This is just how these go.
I know.
Some people's media companies are multiverses of different styles,
Multiverse. Well,
videos, tutorials, how-tos. Ours is just a podcast, and we're perfectly happy with it that way. That's what we have time for.
I guess that's true.
This just is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and shout out to our new-made friend in Australia. You know who you are. I'm not going to drop your name on here, but he and I have been chatting a bit about different things and talking about guns. And he found the podcast when we were talking about Tikka rifles. And he was asking about bear baiting, and he was asking how they're so reliable. I said, well, you can pretty much set your watch to a good black bear. If he's been in there several days, you pretty much know when he's going to show up, roughly. Usually within the half hour if they've been in there for a while.
Yeah.
Usually.
Till you're there to hunt him.
Yeah, until you show up to hunt.
That's not necessarily true. It just seems like, oh yeah, he's been here every day for 9. You show up. You sit down to hunt, and he doesn't show up that night.
Yeah, nothing shows up that night.
Probably smelled you.
Yeah. Unless you're in an area where they don't smell a lot of you.
Could be.
That's the area to be.
Or just I spray my down with some scent killer at the end of a long day of work.
Do you use scent killer sometimes?
I do sometimes, yeah.
Mic up a little bit. You got real quiet there.
Did I?
Yeah.
Is that better?
That's a lot better.
Good.
So you use scent killer when you're just going straight there from work?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I figured.
Just a spray-on thing?
Yeah, I usually have some, obviously, clothes I change into. Change into some stuff that's, some merino or base or whatever.
More comfortable.
Something that's a little more comfortable, also something that's, a little better for the temperatures and whatnot. And hopefully isn't too dirty and stinky, but there's a chance I've been hunting in it the last 3 or 4 nights, especially towards the end of the season. And I've got a bottle of scent spray still in my truck from last season, actually. I just,
Just the ones that you can buy at Sportsman's?
Yep.
Just that yellow and orange bottle?
Yep. A spray bottle, yeah.
About the size of a Windex bottle?
Yeah, the one that says spraying on your clothes, get your clothes out to dry and all that. Yeah, I just stand outside the truck and spray it on like bug dope. Not on my skin, but...
And then you spray on bug dope?
Maybe bug dope first, I don't know. I don't put the scent spray on my skin.
Interesting.
Although it might be safer for your skin than bug dope for all I know.
Yeah, bug dope is next. Did you see that most sunscreens are now considered cancer-causing?
What, because the aluminum?
I have no idea what's in them. I've never read the
next.
bottle. I've never read the bottle of one.
Deodorant is next, but...
I've seen all those ads for healthy deodorants.
Yeah, they don't work.
They don't work as good as Old Spice or Axe.
So, a while ago, a friend of ours who pretty recently got married, I was on the safety team there at the old church house, and standing by one of the doors, and this friend of ours, goes to head out the door, and me and another guy are like, hey, we need to protect the church here. What's going on? And he goes, yeah, my wife tried to get me to stop using that aluminum deodorant, but I got some in the car and I need it bad. Yeah.
Did they just have a baby?
No.
Different one?
Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking about. It doesn't matter.
Remember the guy that could belch really loud?
Yeah.
At the cabin? Yeah. With the speaker?
Yes. Yeah.
We should call that the Argo cabin?
Mm-hmm.
Or something.
Twiggy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Twiggy's cabin.
Yeah.
There's a story there.
There is. I don't know if people are really intrigued by these very mysterious stories or...
It's a podcast. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But
yeah, well, hey, if you don't like it, leave a 5-star review, but tell us why you don't like it. Hey, at least you were entertained.
Yeah. Which, hey, I've gotten a lot of really good feedback about the Lou Bradley episodes. So this
isn't the same.
No, this is not the same.
No.
And the last one about having on Andrew.
Yeah. This isn't the same. This is just... See, I really think, though, if it's just us on the show and we don't just have fun,
then what's the point?
Then it's going to get boring if we try to keep this stupid.
We've been through that before.
Yeah. I don't know. I do know, actually. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know I get bored to death
Yeah.
if we get on some topic and just stay there. Not some. I mean, if we get on a topic and just stay there because we're having fun, great. If we get on a topic and stay there because we've got a whole list of things to talk about, you know.
What did I tell you? I'm going brown bear hunting in October.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, you told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between bear baiting and guiding this spring and October, it's been kind of tough for me prioritizing because I'm really looking forward to being gone in October.
Yeah, I know. Somebody's
super excited about that.
Somebody's leaving me alone on a sheep hunt.
Somebody didn't want to go on a brown bear hunt.
You didn't even ask me, man.
I did, like a year ago.
We talked about it a year ago.
I talked about it with you and somebody else. It was like, hey, let's go do this. And you guys,
were like,
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well.
And then when you planned this one, you didn't include me in that.
Well, that's because I invited your dad and he wanted to bring his friend.
Yeah, I know, which I'm fine with, and I'm okay with that, and I can't really afford to, and I would have probably said, no, I can't do it this year anyway, but...
See, but I already knew that. I'm just looking out for you, man.
You give me a hard time for not inviting.
Well, that's how this goes.
You know what would be better is if we just did all of it. If we all did all of it.
Yeah, just take the whole fall off.
Yeah.
August, September, October, November. We could deer hunt all of November.
There's some moose hunts in December.
Stretch it out a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you're thinking.
Yeah. Actually, Joe, you know what? We go camping on the 4th. We just start from there.
And you know what? We could film the whole thing and turn it into a big how-to blog.
Yeah, we could. And that would make us a bunch of money. And then we could...
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. Nobody would watch that.
People can rent a video renovating their homes and not even know what they're doing and make a ton of money.
I guess. Oh, I videoed cleaning a dryer vent today.
Oh, yeah?
With an air hose, one of those spinning, back-blowing air hoses. My goodness, that is the biggest, that is the closest part of my job that could be considered ASMR.
You do it real slow. You slow motion it. You got to get a high-quality microphone in there.
As that airhead goes in there, it is so satisfying.
And then whisper into the microphone.
You know what's bad?
Watch the air swirl around and around and around as it picks up the dust particles.
No, it's not that peaceful.
Well, if you slow motioned it.
No.
High-def camera.
The problem is
$100,000 cameras, you know.
I have looked up YouTube videos of dryer vent cleanings just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Because my boss and I have had this conversation, like, we should film these and put them on YouTube. There's a guy that's in, like, Florida, and each one of his videos has tens of thousands of views. And it's the same kind of stuff we're doing.
Yeah.
But I find myself just scrolling through his page, video to video to video to video. It's just satisfying. I don't know what it is about brush and dryer, but it's just satisfying.
Is that why you've stuck at this job for so long?
Over 6 years, yeah. 6.5.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, 6.5 years.
Because you got fired from your last one.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, the last one I had before that was that temp gig up on the slope with you.
Oh, that's right.
That was only like a 3-week
job.
job.
You got fired before that.
No, the work ended for the summer. That was a summer job. Before that is when I got fired the last time.
Oh, right. Or was that more of like a let go?
Yeah.
And then the one before that was the fire.
That's what I tell myself. That was a long time ago. Much has changed. Much.
You know, I realized
Thank
something
goodness.
the other day. I've never been fired.
Me neither.
Yeah. Depends on who you talk to.
If you know, you know.
I have never submitted a resume.
You know, I've never
actually officially applied to a job.
I've only submitted one resume.
Really?
And it was for that summer job.
Yeah. I think part of it's just living in Fairbanks, and you get to know enough people, and if you are a valuable employee, you don't have a problem finding work. And if I had to leave the job I'm at now, I have 3 options at least where I think I would make.
How hard is it to find good help right now?
Just as hard as it's always been.
Really? Not gotten any better?
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say with what looking at the climate and also the kinds of companies I worked for before versus the kind of company I work for now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's not easy, although the last 2 guys we've hired have been stellar
Hmm.
in comparison to past tries, including including multiple people that I thought would have been good that I knew personally, right? That just didn't work out. And the hardest part is finding somebody who will show up to work on time and be there for the time agreed to, right? And actually put forth the effort to be there.
And when you need them to stay late, they stay late.
And it's not even that. Like, I would never fire somebody for not staying late.
Well, no,
Right.
but it goes a long ways.
It sure absolutely
especially in the
does.
summertime.
It absolutely does. But the hardest part is just finding people willing to like be dedicated to a job, right, when they're there. And it's surprisingly hard to find.
Yeah, I've been horsing around with the idea of where we might bring somebody else on at some point. Things are changing a little bit.
Part of it, I think, is in how you advertise. They did change that for these last couple guys we hired,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that had a lot to do setting the expectations in the advertisement,
Yeah.
right? And I think that had a lot to do with it.
It just seems like so much of it is so basic, like basic things.
Showing up to work on time.
Yeah. Exactly.
Actually working when you're at
Right.
work,
Not being on your phone.
Yeah. Well, and even
Most of the
that
day.
is, well, yeah, sure, not on most of the day, but if you need to pull your phone out to change a podcast or something, or
Sure. But
Maybe-
be quick about it.
even respond to a text or two, not a big deal
Yeah.
to me, right? And I
As long as it's
I run
not every 5 minutes.
right now I run a crew of 3 guys, and yeah, I mean, I'm probably on my phone more than they are. Granted, half the time I'm taking pictures, writing down notes, texting or calling the boss,
Sure.
whatever it is,
Sure.
the big boss, right? But yeah, no, exactly. It's just not being distracted.
It just
by,
seems like the bar for entry is so low and there's so few people
yeah,
willing to do it.
and it seems like the
crazy.
best people you can find are kids that are just getting out of high school who were raised to taught how to
Right.
work. Yeah.
Right. Which you would think would be more common in this town, but is surprisingly not.
I think our biggest issue in this town is there's almost more jobs than people. Not that that's not true, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
because
know.
so many people here work on the slope,
Yeah.
right? Or all over the state,
Mhm.
or even out of state. There's a lot of people who live in Fairbanks or Alaska in general and work all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the further away you get, the fewer people do it. But like, if you've got a whole bunch of people living in Fairbanks and Anchorage that work on the slope, well, who's taking their place in positions in town?
Yeah.
Right. And that's where there's also out-of-staters that work on the slope and out-of-staters that work in Fairbanks. It's crazy that companies are flying people up to work here. Part of that's just because the economy and the demand is so high.
Yeah.
Not the economy's that good, but the work pays well.
Mm-hmm.
Pays really well.
Yeah. But cost of living is consequently
Also
a lot higher
high,
here
yeah.
as well
Yeah.
compared to a lot of other places.
Right.
Although I've seen a few things from the lower 48, even the
Some places are
Rocky Mountain West states that we would think of as might being cheaper than Fairbanks, and some of them really aren't.
I've heard some pretty good numbers from some guys down there. Like, oh, no,
Yeah.
they're making this much an hour, but this is their living. I'm like, cost of living. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It's still not going to convince me to leave Alaska.
No. I would work 3
The
jobs
amount
before
of
I would
money
leave
I
this
would
state.
have to make to leave the state
Yeah.
it would be something like make enough money in a few years to
quit and move.
Yeah.
Yeah. That ain't happening. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how we got off on that. It just came to mind. I was just thinking about
work help.
thinking about help possibly
You know
in that
what?
situation.
It's hard to
here
find is
soon.
help that wants to talk about hunting, man.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have like. What am I supposed to get distracted in the middle of the day talking to these guys about?
Bear bait.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think you're going to set up?
Oh, a week or two.
Yeah. From now.
Yes.
Because when this comes out, it's going to be...
When this comes out, there's going to be dead bears on the ground, man.
When does it come out?
A month.
Yeah, about that.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, probably. Yeah, 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
A good while. Yeah. And then after this one, you're going to do one either solo or with
some,
my wife or something.
Yeah, with some family or with somebody. I don't know.
Get your dad on here.
Yeah.
Talk about bear killing. He's going to try to do some.
He will.
Sure he will.
He wanted to bait with me this year. But then he changed his mind.
Building a house.
Yeah, that, and he's go in a different direction. So
Yeah, spreading kind of thin that way.
once you get to drive, I've done it, where you've got a bear bait this direction from town this so far and this direction from town so far, and it gets to be old. Because you can't just go check one and run over and check the other. Or you can, but when they're 3 hours apart.
Yeah. It gets old. We
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
We also did the game of bait one spot for a year or two, abandon it, go somewhere else the next year.
Part of
around
the
and try
problem
it.
was access to some of those areas
Right.
changed. Was very hard to maintain because of.
Yeah.
Granted, we were alone.
Yeah.
Or grizzlies. That was a big issue.
Right. Which this year now in
20B.
in 20B, Grizzlies are open till June 15th.
Yep. 20B, 25C,
Hopefully that will.
and 20D.
Yeah.
Or portions of it.
Yeah, 20D open
20D
for the
was
other side
already
of the
open.
Tanana
Yeah.
for baiting,
Yeah.
which is
Good for the Delta folks.
real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for the 20B area to get some more grizzly bears whacked out of it.
I hope so. Yeah.
That'd be
I'll
awesome.
be targeting this year. I've targeted in previous years and just not been able to make it come together.
Yeah. Well,
With the
you and
time
I,
constraint,
our early on baits when we were teenagers, we had a few in 20B.
Yeah, I just think we weren't as dedicated as we should have been.
No, we weren't. And yeah, we were a little bit green.
To target grizzlies.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some tricks to it where, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but now, I noticed this a couple of years ago. I set out a bait, and without really even trying, I had grizzly bears there consistently, and they weren't like taken off when I was there. And I thought about that, and I thought back to when we were teenagers and about some of the things differently that I was doing that I had learned along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, we were in the right spots. We were doing a few things the wrong way.
Yeah.
Some
of it's areas too. Some of the areas where there's a lot
Sure,
of people
sure.
and they're used to people, you're not gonna have an issue.
But it just seems like now it's a lot less effort for us to just say, okay, well, we want to try to shoot a grizzly bear. And so we put a bait up in this spot and we know there's going to be grizzly bears there.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of being there at least every other day to try to be there when they're there. Because unlike black bears, grizzly bears don't usually hang out and play for as long as the black bears do. A black bear, I mean, if you feed a black bear all season,
yeah, he should be there.
There's a good chance he's going to stick around the whole year.
Right.
Grizzly bears, not so. They'll be there for a few days and then they're gone. And they might show back up, but they don't stick around for days and days and days on end.
Right.
It just isn't like that with them.
It'd be really crazy if it showed up to your bait. Short-faced bear.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Wouldn't it be?
What brought that on?
Well, these dire wolves.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that?
Of course I saw. I sent it to you.
Well, I listened to the podcast with the guy the day that it came out.
No, you listened to it the next day.
Okay. Well,
because
whatever
I sent it
was.
to you and you said, yeah, I'm going to listen
Oh,
to that.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, you got me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was interesting.
False. That was a little late, but I've been waiting to do that. If you're watching, you get it. If you're not, then whatever.
So the dire wolves thing, they brought them back. There's,
two
there's
of them?
a
lot of argument. 3 now, I think.
3.
There's a lot of argument about whether or not they're really dire wolves, but
Who cares? It's a big wolf.
essentially, they're a lot more dire than the wolves we had before.
Turn them loose in California.
Oof.
Did you hear that thing about California said they might want grizzly bears reintroduced?
Yeah.
Set them loose.
So, I heard some opinions from the podcast with the guy about that.
Yeah.
About some of the wolf reintroductions that
Yeah.
it's kind of more similar to how I used to think about it, which is that in some areas it's been managed very, very well.
Sure.
In a lot of areas it's being managed horribly.
Yeah.
And it is going to have a huge effect on obviously the current wildlife populations. But
Yeah.
I'm not anti the reintroduction efforts.
Of
I'm
wolves?
Yeah. I'm
I am in a lot of areas.
I'm anti the way it's been done.
Mm-hmm.
The species of wolves they're reintroducing. Or should I say they're taking stronger, bigger wolves, putting them in areas where the wolves were never that strong or big.
They're taking wolves that have already been killing livestock.
Oh yeah, that
and
too.
putting them in areas where
That
there's
too.
livestock.
I am against most of the way it's been done. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Then again, I don't have anything invested
No.
in the thing. I think the dire wolves thing is cool.
Oh yeah,
Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to hunt saber-toothed cats over bear bait.
would be sweet.
So we'll see how far this thing goes.
Albeit scary.
Although I don't know how I feel about walking into the bear bait knowing there might be a saber-toothed cat or a dire wolf or a short-faced bear for that matter.
Man, if we think that walking into a bear bait that's got grizzly
I
bears and mean black bears on
I
it,
know.
and then you put a striped, camouflaged, 500-pound tiger with 10-inch long teeth hiding in the willow bushes, no thanks.
I think you say
I'll take up golf.
They didn't have enough DNA for that particular one.
I'll take up golf.
Oh, I would still do it.
I wouldn't do it the same way. I'll put it to you that way.
None of us would.
I wouldn't do it the
They
same
better
way.
legalize hunting out of helicopters.
Well, apparently Fish and Game can't even shoot brown bears and black bears and wolves out of helicopters anymore.
On one herd.
Yeah.
That's one particular thing, and hopefully they get that overturned.
That's stupid. That whole mulchat and the
you
predator
know how we
management.
feel about that? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you don't know, then look up Alaska Department of Fish and Game predator intense.
Just Google
predator
mulchat
management.
caribou herd and intensive predator
Yeah.
management. You'll figure it out, or Grok it, or Chat GPT it, or
Just look it up on Google.
or Grok. Yeah, it's better.
But there's what, 2 or 3 lawsuits?
I don't know, dude. I haven't been keeping too much track of it. It gets depressing.
It's been a lot of saying that Fish and Game and you know what the problem is that I see with that is you look on some of these
judicial activism.
well, no.
Yes.
Not just that. The trickle down effect is we have hunters that are bickering about it on Facebook forums.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Saying, well, how come, Fish and Game doesn't just offer us more tags?
The tags are wide open.
The tags are there.
Yeah.
And we're not shooting them because they're way out in the middle of nowhere.
Costs a lot of money to go hunt them there.
And they're in a time of year that you can't land a lot of places out there in that time
Is
of
there a sheep
year.
population over there in those mountains? I was looking it up and it was hard to find. I couldn't find any studies, but I think it's kind of in a park.
Yes.
Okay. I was just once again looking.
If I'm not mistaken, that old video, Dick Prenicky.
Yeah.
That's in that part of the state.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's on a lake down there.
Really?
That's like the same general region of where that all was taking place, and there's sheep in that, obviously, in that video. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all in a park somewhere.
Stinking parks, man.
Anyway, though, but with that predator management, yeah, there are hunters arguing with each other on Facebook about, well, they should have given us the chance before they just go out there and mow them down, and these lawsuits are totally justified. There's other guys that are like, I don't want to spend all that much money just to go out there and shoot a bear or maybe a wolf.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this in regards to sheep a little bit with Lou Bradley. Mm-hmm. And part of my thought with this is, and I don't think you'd ever, if we could get to where if the state won these lawsuits, open it up a little further. Let private companies commercialize intensive predator management.
Let
them
kidding.
bring up people who have the money and want to pay to be able to shoot a wolf out of a helicopter.
Even a super cub.
Or whatever.
Let an outfitter go out there with a super cub and a paying client in the back seat with a 12 gauge and ride around and shoot a wolf.
If you commercialize it and let people pay, that's going to cover their costs. Somebody will make some money off of it. Mm-hmm. And it actually will work, right? Heavily regulate it, of course.
Sure.
But if you need a bunch, because then instead of the state, it costing the state however many millions of dollars it does a year to do it anyway, the state could make money off of permitting for it.
Even if it's only hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it every year. It still is not very cost effective. I'm just saying there's a much more efficient way to do it, and it is to do it through the private sector. Yeah. But people, of course, will say, how dare you commercialize the killing of the glorious predators? We must worship them and pretend like... Yeah, anyway. We must go out and harvest them peacefully.
You know what makes a fluffy wolf?
No.
A tanned hide on the wall.
That one?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a couple of them on my top of my dresser right now, and my daughter likes to if she'll keep asking, Daddy, can I snuggle with your wolf? No. I want it to be nice.
That could be a new movie, Snuggles with Wolves.
And it starts out with somebody poisoning a bunch or something, It could be about
Yeah, Frank Glazer.
yeah, Snuggles with wolves. And in the end, you get little kids snuggling in, nice warm parkas with wolf. What's that called?
Oh,
The fur around the hood.
Rough.
Yeah, with a wolf ruff. And Wolverine.
Yeah. The movie could just start out with Frank Glazer out in the middle of the mountains with cyanide capsules.
Now that we've eliminated like half our listeners.
Well, hey.
Yeah, actually,
if they haven't figured out
yeah.
our political leanings by now, then we're doing something wrong. But yeah,
it's great to see Kamala get back out there. I'm glad she did.
I don't keep up with that kind of thing, so I don't know. I'm sure it was intelligent.
She had some nice things to say about the elephants at the San Diego Zoo.
I don't get the reference.
I don't either, but apparently there was a video about some elephants at the San Diego Zoo, and she kept talking about it in her speech.
Cool.
Yeah. That's about all I know about her speech. So
perfect.
Sorry, folks. Not sorry.
Stay in your lane. Well, setting up bear baits.
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking about doing it super early, by the time this comes out, it'll be about perfect. That's in all reality.
Give it another month.
Yeah. Wait till about third week of June, then go prop it out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually we don't even get ours out until almost the end of May.
Yeah. I've got one that I think it could even be ready now, at least as to access.
Yeah, but you're not going to have any activity at it for at least a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Get in there, get the scent bomb or going early.
Yeah. Problem is you set it up too early and then it just gets rained on and saturated and doesn't stink as much anymore. And
well, that's why you go out there once every 3 days.
That's not my spot.
No, it's not your spot. It's my no.
Right.
No. This particular spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah.
But
so I'm thinking about putting that one out.
So are you gun hunting there, or are you going to bow hunt?
Depends on if I get my bow out and start shooting it or not.
I've been shooting my recurve.
You told me that, yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to it.
I have my bow targets over on the side of the property. They're laying over, setting on its side from the past year. I need to go set it up and start shooting at it again.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to shoot those M3s with my recurve.
No.
I have
Muzzies.
No, I don't think I have any more of those.
Oh, really?
I don't know where they went. They might be at my dad's house.
That would be like a cool thing to do, though.
Oh, it would be. I think those probably are in my dad's archery equipment. I left them there when I was a teenager. Because that's the last time I've shot those was when I was 17, probably.
Boy. Yeah. Ancient times.
Yeah, like 10 years ago. Anyway, no, so a couple of years ago, I went out and bought some Magnus.
Yeah, we were talking about those. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about those with Andrew.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about them on the podcast or not.
I don't remember. But they're like the Black Hornet, I think is what they're called. But they're kind of a little short broadhead. I'll show you here. But they are a 2-blade with a nice wide bleeder.
If you want to see this, look up Magnus broadheads.
Yeah, it's a Magnus Black Hornet. And it's not the serrated one. They make a serrated blade version. Which, some guys really love that serrated edge.
I'm at the point with so much of this stuff now. I keep thinking about, what kind of broadhead should I try?
Right there.
And yeah,
it's the Magnus Black Hornet.
And I think what I'm going to, and this is what the conclusion I came to last year, and what I'm doing this year, is I'm going to shoot what I got.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm good with it and it goes well, then I might look into expanding it.
Yeah.
But so much money I spent by
tinkering, yeah.
On, new broadheads. Well, that could easily be a couple $100.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Depending on what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And there's in so many of these new, even there's a lot of new companies just from the past few years that are doing great stuff and very unique. And I've heard some really good stuff about it. Even ones you can just unfold in the truck, right? Or at the truck before you go out because how far out the blades stick. And you just little Allen unfold it, tighten it back down, and then you have a little bit, and then you can practice with them folded
Right.
down. Some of the advantages
Right.
in mechanical without it being a mechanical
Right.
thing. There was some of those I was looking at one point. Don't remember even the brand, but
I think we were talking about those with Brad.
could have been, or wasn't. No, it was there was somebody else that I was talking to at one point. I don't remember if you were there or not. That shot a bear with one of those, and it was a black bear.
Mm-hmm.
And the black bear got a bear bait.
Mm-hmm.
He shot the black bear. The black bear ran up a tree, and the blood was squirting out its side, like pumping out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as he ran up the tree.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like, and you didn't have to look twice to see it in the video. It was clear as day. I mean, and
He had it on video?
Yeah.
You got to
so you must not have been there.
No, yeah,
I
I would have remembered that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to figure that out and find that video.
Okay. We'll see.
That'd be neat to see. Yeah.
That may or may not be really possible, but
Interesting. Yeah, so I really do get a kick out of shooting with a bow over that bait that we've got.
yeah, I want to shoot
It's close.
a bear with a bow this year. If not everything I shoot with a bow.
And don't get me wrong, like it's not like I don't want to shoot him with a rifle.
Yeah.
It's just that at that bait, the way that one works, and with how many bears there are in there, I have had a lot better luck with sticking a bear with a bow, hanging out,
Oh,
and
right,
then if there's a second
right.
shooter there in the stand with
Yep.
me, then just wait. And if you give it some time, another one's probably going to show
Mhm.
up if you're not making too terribly much noise. So that's one advantage of you're not disturbing things nearly as much. And then even when I get down finally to go skin the thing out and be done with it for the night, there's not a whole lot of noise that you have to make.
Mhm.
Unless you're worried about something, unless you've got bears around that are
Problems.
potentially a problem
Yeah.
that might come up behind you and want to come say hi, you don't have to make a lot of noise sometimes. And so even last year, my wife and I did that. We were generally pretty quiet, especially with her bear that she shot with her bow, because we knew there was more shooters in there that we wanted to kill, and we still had some more season left to hunt. And so she killed hers. It died real close to the bait, like right behind it to the right. If you're looking at it from the stand, it just ran over it died 20 feet from the bait pile. And so I grabbed it and drug it to the right out into that little clearing right there, brought it away from the brush a little bit so I'm not hemmed in on any sides and I can see all around me. And I just kept the rifle leaned up to the tree or to the bushes next to me, and we just were quiet and skinned the thing out and left. And we didn't disturb anything.
Right.
There was a bear that came in within a half hour of us leaving that night that I checked on the camera the following time that I went in there, and it didn't really mess anything up. So I think that's one advantage too. You don't have this boom going off at the bait. Yeah, there's other guys too that'll probably say, well, I've shot him with a rifle plenty of times, and there's one that just comes in right after it because they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds good to me, so that's what I'm sticking with.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just something fun about it, and I haven't shot anything with that bow. I've had that bow since I graduated high school,
Oh, that's right.
and I
That's right. I
haven't
remember you
killed
bought that,
anything with
yeah.
it. I shot my first black bear with my old bow, and then I ordered this one after I graduated high school. Haven't killed anything with it yet. So I just had a couple more arrows made up, those ones sitting there in the corner with the orange fletchings.
Mhm.
So I have 5 or 6 now. So that should be plenty for the spring bear hunting. Get a lot of target shooting in. I did put a clicker on there. That's what that
Oh, okay.
thing is there on the top. There's just something about that helps me
Is it?
go through
Yeah.
with the shot, because you pull it to full draw, you anchor, you aim, and then you have to pull with your shoulder and your back so that you're pulling more into alignment. For me, that's how I use it anyway. And then when it clicks, then I shoot. And so it forces me to have that process. Otherwise, I'll catch myself snap shooting, like we were talking about in the episode with Andrew.
Mhm.
But that clicker helps me a lot. It
Yeah.
really changes my shooting with a
Yeah.
recurve.
I need to practice. I need to shoot a lot just because it's a perishable skill.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
you
it
don't
is.
realize how perishable it is because
Yeah.
growing up, for me, I didn't have to. I shot so much when I was young, and then I got my bow hunter's ed, which you have to get in Alaska to hunt with a bow. And I had a hard time getting that because I was at that point growth spurt, still shooting too small of a bow. And my dad decided to have me go ahead and take the course with that, passed by the skin of my teeth. Then I upgraded bows, and boom, I was immediately shooting better. Like I could have shot that bow from the get-go and done better on the course, but immediately did better. And I've killed a couple, 2, 3 bears with that. Moose, yeah. And now I've got another bow, and haven't killed anything with it, and haven't put a lot of time and effort into it either. I've got some arrows for it or whatever. I think I've got Easton Aftermaths.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and they don't make them anymore. And Chris, when I told Chris from Screaming Eagle that I had those, he goes, "Yeah, I wish they still made those. They're like the best, like all around arrow. They fit a lot of." For whatever reason, he stopped making them. But anyway, I've got the.
Well, I've got a bunch of Axis arrows. Are you shooting 60 with that one? I think that one's 50 to 60. That bow
I think
is.
I'm shooting 60. Yeah, I don't know why I wouldn't be.
So I have arrows that'll work on that bow. I have Axis that'll work on that one if you need some.
Okay.
I've got a bunch of them.
Oh, that's right. You bought a bunch.
Yeah. I started out with Axis.
Yeah. Do you cut them down at all, or? So I'm not cutting mine down either.
Yeah.
So.
No, I full length shafts on my compound and my recurve because I've got 31.
I think I have
draw.
6 arrows still.
Yeah.
From the aftermaths, so I'll probably hunt with those this spring.
Yeah. Why not?
Unless I do the old break 3 arrows trying to kill 1 bear, which I've never done.
Yeah.
I've never had to put more than 1 shot into a bear. But no, not knock on wood. Like I have never. Oh. Yeah. I have literally never had to shoot a bear more than once, and I've never had the furthest I've ever had a bear run was 50 yards. Now, saying that now, this spring.
Which one ran 50? The Big Sow?
Yes.
You shot with your bow?
Slick trick.
Really? Oh, that was a slick trick.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy, though? Like, that bear ran 50 yards, and then the previous couple that you shot with a slick trick piled up.
I think it had a lot to do with
10 feet.
Exact positioning of the target.
Yeah.
And that one was a little further shot, too. So, I don't know if speed.
Well, what kind of penetration did you get, though?
I got full pass-through, so
yeah,
it shouldn't matter.
Then, it doesn't matter. Did the arrow go all the way through, stick in the ground?
I don't remember.
I thought it did.
I think it did. I think I was looking for it on the ground, and then, it was in the bait pile or whatever.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that one went all the way through.
Yeah. So,
it wouldn't matter then. But angle, that was a relatively high.
I mean, I double lunged it, but exactly where did I double lung it?
Right. There's an interesting...
And it may not have been exactly 50 yards. That was my estimation at the time. But, once you find the bear, you're not worried about pacing out how far it ran.
Right. Well, I remember that one went a little ways.
Well, you remember that bait, too, was in a real big clear area.
Yeah.
And it ran to the right through the farthest part of that clear area. If I can find the video, I'll play it. I'll put it in this this podcast, so you can find that on YouTube if you're listening and you want to see that. Right around here when I'm talking, I'll just put it in here.
Okay.
But yeah, it ran through the clearing to the right. It didn't go I mean, you heard the death moan and everything, but then I'm walking through the woods where it went, and I can't find it. I do the circles, and then I found it, and that was it. And there was no blood, right? And that's like I was telling Andrew about the slick tricks. Like I don't like slick tricks. And he goes, really? Yeah. He seemed surprised by that.
Yeah.
But, I'm shooting the G5s this year.
Have you seen the Instagram page, The Anatomy Hunter?
No.
Okay. So this guy is interesting.
It looks interesting, yeah.
So he has, like, life-size taxidermy modified with the anatomy and the bone structure in place. And on this one I'm showing you right here, this is a black bear that I think he shot. And he has the actual ribs from the bear that he shot, and he cut them out, and then he puts this mold together, and then has the arrow sticking through. And he showed the video in another post, and then he said, "Is this bear dead or alive?" And then this is the video where he's showing where the arrow went through, and he's talking about shot placement on bears. And so there you can see the entry hole from where the arrow went in between the ribs. And he builds all these targets.
Did you see what I saw?
Yeah, that was two other things that he does different angles with. But there's where his exit was, right there on that rib. But he does this, there's this bear, and there's another one of that same bear. So there's a whitetail that he made, all the vital positions, angles, and then he'll show like the angle of approach for different shots, angled high to low, low to high, back to front, and so on and so forth. It's really, really good. I have been very impressed with what he's been doing. And he's got, not a super giant Instagram page, but there's a lot of people
I'll have to check him out.
have a relatively big name that are keeping up with him. So I think what he's doing is catching on. I haven't seen anything quite like that.
He might blow up. I think he'll blow up.
Oh, I definitely think he will. I just came across this stuff. But if you want to search him on Instagram, it's The Anatomy Hunter.
We should try to get him on the show.
I was already planning on reaching out to him and talking to him about it.
Yeah.
Because what he's talking about is super valuable information. I could do with a lot less talk about how big of a gun do I need to kill something, and a whole lot more, where do I need to shoot something?
Yeah. You know what I want to do this year? If I get a bear with a bow, that's my primary goal at the beginning of the season, will be to shoot one with a bow. Okay. If I get out and shoot it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I want to, but it's not a huge priority. It's not as big a priority as killing bears. Yeah. Because big part for me with bears is meat.
Absolutely.
Fill in the freezer.
Absolutely.
We still got bear meat left over from last year, but not that much.
Yeah.
That big bear for sure provided a lot of meat. I mean, probably close to double the amount of meat off a 6-foot bear.
Yeah.
On a 7-footer. That's what I mean with those huge arms and everything. Anyway, but I'd really like to shoot one with a 6 arc at a bait.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. It would be interesting. I mean, it's a small, lightweight bullet.
Oh, it would work awesome.
Oh, I think it would work great. It would just be really cool to see. And I want to shoot one with a 10 mil as well, purposefully hunt with a 10 mil. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what bullet I would do. I might want to reload something for that, but Hammer has some pistol bullets. I think I'd like to try one of those. You know what I'm talking about? I think they call it the jackhammer.
Yep.
Yeah. So
interesting.
I don't know that I would do that this year because I don't have any of those bullets. Although I have time if I.
Is your slide cut for an optic?
Yes. I don't think I'd do an optic though.
You don't think so?
Why?
Depends on how close, I guess.
That wouldn't be too far. No. I mean, we're talking bow range. Yeah. So.
We say bow range, we don't mean stretching bow range. We mean
we mean 15, 20 yards or less.
Usually sub 15.
I might do the one bait this year. A little more like 30.
Oh, the Grizz?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see what...
I don't think that one would hurt to do 30.
I don't think so.
Especially if you're going to gun that one.
Well, and I would probably still shoot... I mean, I think I will be able to, if I can shoot at 20, I'll be able to shoot at 30, with my bow. Although I'm doing that bait with my other sister this year, and I don't think she'll want to do anything but a bow. If she's hunting it, so.
Yeah, you're going to want to have it closer than 30 then.
For her? Think she listens to this? Nah.
No, but I mean, seriously though.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah, you don't need to be sticking something in the shoulder or the shoulder blade, or have somebody else do that.
Yeah, no, I don't. I would not shoot one with a bow at 30 if I was not 100% confident.
Yeah.
In the last 30 shots I made in my yard, but
no, there's just a lot more that goes on in 10 more yards, and
at a bait.
At a bait, and especially if it's like midnight, it's barely light out. You barely even see your pin, and you can barely even see where the shoulder line is on the bear if it's shadowed.
You'll get some. We're gonna have some good light in there, I think.
But if it's overcast and kind of dim, you start blending shoulder crease, and
Yeah.
you don't, it's easy to just float that pin over and stick it in the shoulder, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And you're never going
true.
to find it. And she's not going to be shooting a very high poundage bow at all.
That's true as well. That's true. Yeah, that's
probably
true.
going to be
Yeah,
shooting
I
a
didn't
light
really think about
arrow.
that. Yeah, I guess if I do end up gun hunting it, maybe I'll move the stand back or something. But
Yeah.
just to give more opportunity.
Yeah, gun hunting, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know how we got off on
pushing
that.
a little further. But
Anyway, but the anatomy hunter,
yeah,
I think that's super important.
I think
You
so.
know, people, and you tell me if you see this as much as I do, but about bear shot placement, shoot them in the shoulders to break them down.
I don't feel like I've seen it as much as I used to. That
Seems
might be
like I've
more-
seen it more
Do
this
you?
year.
Now, I'm not as big into the hunting media as you are. I don't consume as much of it as you
Well,
do.
it's not even hunting media, it's just forums.
Well, that's hunting media.
I guess so. I don't think of it that way. But
Media is an all-encompassing term.
it's just water cooler talk is all it is. It's just scuttlebutt. Well,
Rock slide.
Yeah, some rock slide, but a lot of Facebook forums, which
Okay,
seems to be
okay.
like the grunt.
I've pretty much
Hangout.
don't even get on Facebook anymore.
There's a lot
It's
good
still.
on
It's
there.
not that it's not. It's just.
It's just that there are so many posts. Like for instance, boar or sow. Somebody posts a picture of like one photo on a trail camera of a bear, like boar or sow. And to me, I look at it and go, "Who cares?
It's legal.
If there's not cubs with it, then it's big enough. And if you want to shoot a grizzly bear, then kill it." Now, I understand that in some parts of the state where they might have a quota and they're
Right.
looking to only shoot boars. But, I mean, really, at some
Well,
point...
it's good to practice judgment, but looking at random pictures that somebody posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
one. That's the. And I realize it's all over the internet, but that does seem to be a more Facebook community thing.
And then every September, how wide is this moose? Can't stand some
My
of
favorite Facebook post I saw a while back on the Alaska hunting page was somebody posted some picture of a caribou on a ridge and said they saw him down there at the end of Chino Hot Springs Road for the 40-mile hunt.
Awesome. Send
That
them
was
all
great.
there.
Oh yeah. I don't know that anybody fell for it, but
Oh, there's probably 50 or 60 of them.
I fell for that.
You never know. That's a big group.
That's true. I mean, that actually went down there though.
Yeah. A lot of noobs.
A lot of noobs on that hunt.
Yeah, no kidding. The amount of people that get upset about that hunt, I don't know. I just don't understand that, I guess. It just doesn't add up to me. Like, don't hinge all of your meat plans off of being able to kill one caribou.
Yeah.
There's not that many of them out there right now. They're in a transition time of trying to manage numbers. Plan something else.
Yeah, people get so upset at management of game. And I understand it from some perspectives.
Yeah, but could you do a better job with the budget that they're being given?
With that herd, no.
Yeah.
No. With that herd, no. They're doing their best. And what makes you think, oh, well, I would do it this way? Well, you say that because you've seen what's happened the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you're judging them for the last 5 years when they didn't know what happened over the last 5 years, right? I think what we
And then you hear the backstory of the last 15 years of management, and then you hear them explain, this is why we're doing this, because all this happened this long ago, so we had to get them to this number and then shoot them down, and then now we have to restrict to get them back up, but not quite as far as we did last time. And then we want to keep it right about here.
Right.
And so they're in the process of trying to doing that.
The view I don't get,
of trying to do that.
or the view I do not agree with. I guess I kind of get it, but I do not agree with it. And that is, well, why are we trying to manage the herd for a specific population? We should just let it fluctuate.
No.
But if we're going to hunt them, we must manage them.
Yeah.
There's far too many hunters, especially for like the 40-mile. How did we get off shot placement?
I don't know. Let's go back to that.
Yeah.
That's a lot more fun. But break them down on Facebook.
Yeah,
forums. That's how we got there.
yeah.
Yeah. So break them down. There's a popular term. If you haven't heard it, then you heard it here
you hear
now.
that a lot specifically for bears?
Specifically for brown bears, because people are afraid of them running into the brush.
Yeah. Well, you shoot them in the shoulder with your 9mm, man. You're good to go.
Yeah, well. But people talk about, put that first shot through the shoulders and then put the next 3 wherever you can hit them. If you shoot a bear perfectly broadside, in the shoulder, all that's going to go into the lungs is some chunks of bone.
Yeah.
If that.
Right.
Ask me how I know.
Well, if you shoot it with a match grade bullet, you might get a little piece of bullet.
Mm-hmm. Not that I've shot him in the shoulder, but I've had other people shoot him in the shoulder that I have to go into the brush after, and they are alive and well on 3 legs and coming very quickly.
Yeah, and they don't lose complete use of a leg. It just hurts.
The one
that would be...
Yeah, that one
guess it
particular
depends.
one that I'm referencing, he only had 3 legs.
Okay.
He took a 338 in the left shoulder, and it broke that bone clean.
Oh, okay.
It was
Okay.
snapped.
Okay.
But he was very much alive. Now, he was wheezing a bit.
Mhm.
I could hear him in the brush when I started to go in after him a couple minutes later. And because I didn't give him any time because I didn't want him. I knew what the terrain was back in there. So he shot, and then boom, he was gone in the brush. There was no time for follow-up shots. And as soon as he shot, I went, oh, man, that shot him in the shoulder. Because you could see him. He just jumped up, and that leg was kind of swinging, and he just straight into the brush.
If it breaks the bone, yeah, but a lot of shoulder shots don't break the bone.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. But I went in relatively quickly after that brown bear, and this is a big bear. And as soon as I got in the brush and, it kind of got into those super tall alders and willows, and they're, like 10, 12 feet tall bushes inside of temperate rainforest spruce trees that are 60 feet tall. And so it's dark, even though it's light out. It's shaded in there. And then there's bear tunnels and trails going through the willow brush. And he was in one of those, and I got in there, and there's a little bit of blood on the ground. And so I'm on my knees with my rifle and just listening. And you can hear him. And you can hear him kind of coughing and wheezing a little bit. I thought, okay, well, maybe he's more hurt than I thought. And he was a little bit. He got part of one lung, and it was with bone. There was some shoulder bone that had kind of blown off and gone into one lung. Not both of them, one of them. And that bear still came in at what looked and felt like a full charge in the brush. And I had to shoot him from my knees coming through the brush, just looking at hair. And yeah, 3-legged bear was alive and well. And would have made it a long ways further had we not followed up quickly and shot him again. But case in point, that bear, sure, would he eventually died? Yeah. But that's not one that you could just shoot once and then say, okay, we only got 1 bullet in him, but he's in the brush. We don't need to go in after him right now. Let's give him 20 minutes then go in after him.
This idea of changing your primary shot for follow-up shots is foolish.
Yeah, I agree. If you shoot them one time, if you only get 1 shot, because they're going to either dive into the brush or, worst case scenario, your gun jams and you can't get a follow-up shot. If you can only get off 1 shot and you shoot them through both lungs, you can wait and then go in after them.
Right.
And it's going to be dead.
Yeah.
You keep your shots at a modest range or close, like 110 yards or less, ideally under 100. I think like 65 to 85 is about perfect. Once you get closer than that, nerves kind of kick in a bit more with the client, it seems like, and they get a little bit more worked up.
Yeah.
And then if you get busted and the bear sees you before you shoot it, then they're already kind of edgy, and then when you shoot them, they just bolt.
I should correct what I said or clear up a little bit.
What's that?
Said, changing your primary shot based on follow-up shots is dumb. It's nothing wrong with planning for follow-up shots.
Right, I know what you mean.
But to the point where you're changing the efficacy of your first shot to try to plan for follow-up shots is not a good idea.
Yeah.
That would be foolish. That's what I meant. If anybody was...
And that's what these statements are saying, is shoot him in the shoulders so that it creates more time for follow-up shots.
Right.
So they can't go as far.
Even a 2-legged bear can move fast.
Well, and like you said, you might not break the bone.
Right.
If you shoot him in the shoulders where you think the bone is and you just get them through the meat and they still take off and run, now it's not a vital shot.
Right.
And you just put a hole through the meat.
Based on that, why don't you just spine him?
Yeah, go for a high shoulder shot.
Yeah.
Maybe you hit it, maybe you don't.
Well, you'll at least knock out the front legs. Maybe the back legs. Maybe he'll be dragging himself on his front legs.
You know, that is the one thing that all
doesn't
of us
work
in
out
camp
well.
say the same thing. If the bear drops, and we all have this talk with our clients before we go into the field, if the bear drops immediately and doesn't twitch, you need to be reloading even faster than if you shot him in the lungs. Because you don't know. It's like shooting a moose in the hump. You don't know if you actually spined him or if you just stunned him.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that happen where they shoot him a little bit high because the spine in a bear is not way all the way up on the back. It comes down a ways. And if you look at the Anatomy Hunter, his Instagram page, it shows that spine exactly where it is, and it is not up on the top of the back.
Right. Well, and it doesn't sit above the rib cage completely. It kind of sits down into it a little bit.
It's
and
a little
on that
bit
big
recessed.
bear that I shot, when I shot it with that 30-30, a little high, and the reason it dropped, pretty sure, I didn't hit the spine. I didn't even hit the spine with fragments of the bullet. But I went in at an angle and next to the spine, and I think
right
the
next to
shock of that hammer bullet and that instant opening, like sure, I went into the lungs, which it was the kill, but I think that initial shock is what stunned him in the spine, and that's why he flopped over and kicked.
Central nervous system.
Yeah,
but
but
you're not counting on that, right? You weren't aiming for a spine shot. It was just a byproduct of the bullet design.
Yeah, and a little bit of a high shot. And, but yeah, if I was on the ground and I shot that bear even Steven, and I hit high under the spine, it would be possible to shock that spine enough to drop the bear and not kill it.
Yep.
Not hardly even wound it. Put a couple holes in him.
Right, and then you go above the lungs, just under the spine, you stun him, and then a minute later, he jumps up and he's a goner.
He's a goner, or he eats you.
But that's why we tell the clients, when they drop like that, when they just sack and go down on shot number one, you rack that gun as fast as you can and you shoot him again, and you aim for the lungs again. You don't just shoot him any old where, because then you know, first shot, we don't really know where it went, but it stunned him no matter what it was. Now you shoot him in the lungs. That way, just in case your first one didn't hit the airbags, the second one does.
Right.
Now, if he does try to get up and take off, he's already shot through the lungs, for sure. But make that first shot through the lungs.
Yeah.
And it ain't up next to the shoulder.
Right.
Go back from the shoulder.
We're talking about bears because it's spring bear season and everything. Yeah. But I see this about moose, even about sheep. I don't see it as much as you do, but I've seen it about almost every animal on the planet that people are hunting. For some reason, especially Alaska. But I even a former mutual friend of ours that shot a moose, and he said, "Yeah, I was hunting, and I just look over, and there he was. So I shot him in the shoulders to put him down. Then I shot him in the lungs."
You destroyed how much meat to do that?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing about a cervid that you're hunting for meat. Is it makes zero sense to me. And sure, can you do a more forward shot and potentially break the shoulders and get a double lung, especially on a moose? Yeah, probably.
Sure.
But the amount of meat, especially if you hit bone.
Oh yeah. It destroys so much meat doing that.
You can destroy a quarter.
Yeah, or most of one, depending on the gun
a
and the bullet.
A moose is big, but
certainly with a caribou.
Yeah, with a deer.
Oh yeah, deer for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we are to the point now where for the last several years, if we don't get the right shot angle at one of those deer, we don't even shoot it.
Well, I mean, it depends.
Unless it's desperate.
But
if we're not hurting for meat.
Well, that's why I'm shooting a 6 arc for deer, because it does a smaller amount of damage. It still kills them just as dead.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to shoot that 25-06 this year for deer.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's going to do a lot less damage.
little 120 grain bullet going 3,100 feet a second.
What's the heaviest bullet you can get for that?
Oh, boy. I believe Hornady has a match bullet that's over 130.
See, that might be the thing to do.
No.
Slow down a heavy bullet, man.
I think that was an A-tip. That was that aluminum tip one. I wouldn't want to hunt with that one.
I would try to slow down a heavy bullet for that rifle for
They
deer.
they might make like
'Cause
130
your
grain
range would still be
ELDM.
farther than you need it to be,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and you would just
Honestly, if I could,
speed is just
if I could find something like 130 or 135 grain, like a round nose lead core bullet, that'd be pretty sweet. Because can you reach that American whitetail red box right there?
On
That
top?
ammo? Yeah, that's 25-06. I don't remember. Those might be 117s.
117.
Yeah. See, if they made that in like 125 or 130 grain, that'd be a sweet deer bullet because those are still cooking along at about
90.
Yeah, about 3,000. Well, we clocked those and they were going like 370 or 3070 or something out of that barrel.
Which wouldn't be too bad.
No, but it's still a bit fast. If I could
Well, you're not shooting a deer with a 168 at 150.
Well, last year I shot one with a 145 out of a 7 mag
Yeah.
at 31 and change,
Yeah.
which is
but
still
that's what I mean. I was
screaming.
shooting with my 300 short. I was shooting them at the 168s with that 3150, which is just
a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying, like, if I could find like a round nose lead bullet for that 25-06 in that 125 to 130 grain range, that'd be awesome.
I know. I would be tempted. I'm not set on what I'm going to take this year for deer, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'd be tempted to take like a lever action.
4570.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Or even a 30-30.
Yeah.
A little now that I've consistently killed deer with something that's not. I mean, I had a scope on that, but that's not my big rifle, right? I think I would feel a lot more confident busting the brush with that 30-30. I don't know if I want to bust the brush with that 30-30 though.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about that
but
too.
The 4570 with that 1.5 to 5, the way it's set up,
awesome.
With those, I mean, with the bullets I have loaded for it, be perfect.
I was thinking about that, putting that little 6-inch rail on my 4570 and putting on the 1.5 to 5 because I got another one of those. I have an old fixed 4-power loophole too.
Ooh, there you go.
That I can put on there. I don't know. 4-power is a bit much for 30 yards in the brush, though.
Yeah.
In the trees.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know. I ran that.
We'll see.
The one I had this year was 3 or 3.5. A scope.
3.5 on the 3-inch.
Was fine.
Or the 6 arc?
Yeah.
3 to 18.
Yeah, I think it's a 3 to 18. Yeah, and the 3 was okay.
You know, I used to hunt with a Night Force 4 to 14.
I don't know
down
if
there.
I'd want to go to 4.
Yeah.
4 would probably be survivable, but the 3.
I used to have a 4 to 14 Night Force.
I'm shooting both eyes open, obviously, but
yeah, 4 might work, and that's just an old classic scope.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've thought about that. You know, bringing a 4570 with a low power scope, 25-06, because my wife and I hunting together. She could carry the 25-06, and I could carry the lever gun. And then if we get a longer shot somewhere, I could always just grab the other gun if it's my shot.
276 would kill him.
Oh yeah,
kill him.
See,
dead.
but I would
But
almost.
it's slow enough that I don't think I'd.
That's what I was just going to say. I would almost want to shoot something like an extreme penetrator instead that doesn't expand, just for meat
Expansion
damage.
is so slow on those though.
I don't think so.
Because the bullet's so slow, it slows down your expansion.
Yeah, but those pedals still come off fast. Those ones are designed to dump off quick.
But that's where you got to shoot them to see what it does.
So you do it with those, and I'll shoot
Yeah.
an extreme penetrator out of mine,
Yeah.
and we'll see what the difference is in the damage.
Yeah.
Keep them in the ribs and see what they do. I'm seriously, I've been thinking about that. Bringing those two guns, one big and slow.
Well, the other, what I want to do is also I want to build a subsonic AR to hunt those deer with. That would be
338 arc
338 arc or a 300 black, but
with
ideally,
a suppressor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would be fun.
I think the 338 arc is ideal because you've got knockdown power. But
there's another forum.
You're slow, and you talk about not doing a lot of damage on a deer. You're super quiet. I'd build it in a lightweight, build a short pistol or something. Something small, light, keep it subsonic, but you can also run supersonic loads Hornady makes for it. So
Yeah.
or make your own, load your own. That supposedly you can run with the same without adjusting your gas or buffer, which is pretty cool. To be able to change your load that much from a 307 grain to, I don't know, what's their light one, the 175? Something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is a supersonic, the 175 is. Which is interesting.
You got to shoot something with that 375 Ruger, too.
Yeah, I do. I want to shoot a moose with that.
I'm taking my H&H this spring. Guiding.
Yeah, I know.
Which is a bummer because I don't have hand loads for it.
I know.
So I'm shooting factories.
Now you got me thinking about that 375.
Yeah.
I don't have a scope on it. I mean, I guess I could throw the loopholes on there.
Yeah.
I might buy that SIG, too. It's cheap enough.
Yeah, I decided to shoot the H&H this spring for guiding just because I haven't shot anything with it yet. I haven't.
Oh, really? I didn't realize you hadn't shot anything.
No, I've only had that one for a couple of years, and I've just... I took it to the peninsula guiding 2 years ago when I had that bow hunter client. And, obviously didn't need it then. Didn't end up shooting. And then I haven't used it since then. I've just been bringing my Ruger, which it feels a little bit sacrilegious not bringing the Ruger this spring, but I want to carry the H&H. I just want to.
Well, the hunt I've got planned for this fall,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I will bring that Ruger as well.
Yeah, you've got the room.
Yeah, and I'll have a base camp
Mm-hmm.
that I can leave
I
it
was
at.
going to mention that you could set up a camp.
Yeah. Even if it's small.
Yeah, have somewhere to come to, cut
Even
some
if it's
firewood.
even
Yeah.
if it's just a tarp covering all my gear.
Yeah.
Um,
Or a dry bag hauled up a tree.
Yeah, something.
Because you know of the issues in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, how long have we been rambling on here?
Oh, hour and 15.
I think we about covered it.
Did we? Is anything? I'm sure we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I could bring that for the second part of the hunt.
That might not be a bad idea. Because that bottom country is pretty thick.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Moose and Bearville.
Yeah. And yeah.
Might be a fun spot to bait one day. It would probably be bonkers in there.
Yeah, it would be.
A lot of work.
It'd be a camp.
Yeah, tent camp.
Yeah.
Which could be fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be insane, dude.
Okay, folks.
That'd be the old family bear camp.
Yeah, one day. Well, all we ask for you to support the show is to leave a 5-star rating and a positive written review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. We greatly appreciate your feedback. Thank you to our partners, Stealthy Hunter, Initial Ascent Packs, and Hammer Bullets, for enabling us to partner with them and use their products and goods if you're looking for a rifle cover or a glassing pad or a backcountry medical kit.
Yeah.
Or some nutritional supplements. Go over to stealthyhunter.com and give them a look-see. Hammer bullets, rapid expanding, monolithic copper bullets, turned on a lathe in Montana.
I'm on a mission to kill as many bears with different hammers as I can.
Yep, go give them a look. They're usually in stock. And between you and I and a few friends over the last few years, we have proven them to be easy to load and easy to kill with.
Yep.
Put them in the right spot. And last but not least, Initial Ascent Packs. Go give them a look if you're looking for a pack. They make a great product. And Mo and I have been happy with ours.
Been very happy.
Yep, I've got mine packed as my carry-on.
Nice.
This is obviously well recorded in the future, but we hope you like the show and this little spring rambling. And next episode
Might be a good name for the episode.
Yeah, spring rambling. There we go.
Yeah.
There's the head stamp. Next episode will be Mo and maybe my wife and somebody else just chatting about how baiting season is going. I will be in the field. Hopefully not getting.
And you'll be back in time for an episode after that, maybe.
Possibly. We'll have to
see.
look at the
Yeah.
calendar. By then, I might be back in service and able to,
Do something over the phone.
yeah, possibly if I'm stuck in a hotel somewhere for a
Yeah.
couple days.
Yeah.
Yep. But we'll figure that out.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. Get out there and have yourself a good spring bear hunting season and shoot straight. Don't aim for the shoulders and be patient. If they're not coming yet, it's still May.
Yeah.
Wait till June.
Unless you're near one of our spots, then get out of there.
Yeah. See us, then move along.
Yeah. Find another spot.
This ain't whitetail hunting. All right. Thanks for listening, folks. We'll see you next time.